Manishtana, how is this Passover different? This year, the year of the pandemic, Passover is suddenly different for all of us. This, after all, is the holiday when Jews gather in the greatest numbers to celebrate. My own extended family seders are typically huge affairs. My children and all their cousins look forward to these seders all year, and so do I. And now they won't be happening. This year, there will only be a few people at our Seder table. Some of us will sit alone on Seder night. How can we be joyous on Pesach if we can't do the Seder the way we're used to doing it? How do we get into the spirit of Passover in a time of coronavirus? For that, I think we need to go back to the very first Passover, celebrated by our ancestors before they even left Egypt. As the 10th plague struck, the Israelites stayed inside their homes and ate the roasted lamb sacrifice with soft matzah, unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. They were dressed for travel, sandals on their feet and staffs in their hands, ready to depart at a moment's notice. And they were filled with trepidation, facing the unknown. But they were also assured that this night of waiting and watching would never be forgotten, that it would be observed as a week-long festival of freedom for generations to come. That first Pesach night, while they were still slaves, still in captivity, the Israelites were told about how in the future parents would tell the story to their children, the story of the ancient journey from slavery to freedom, and their fear mixed with joy and hope as they anticipated their departure. The Haggadah asks us to re-experience both slavery and freedom. And I confess that most years it's hard for me to imagine the fear that our ancestors felt on the eve of the Exodus. This year, I think that might be less of a stretch. But then, I remind myself that we are part of an ancient people whose liberation story is at the very root of our identity. And that's a story that has inspired those who seek freedom the world over. We have endured and thrived in the most difficult of circumstances over our long history. We have found hope and light even in the darkest of times, and we shall do so again. In a beautiful essay about karpas, the green vegetable symbolizing spring and rebirth, that we dip in salt water and eat toward the start of the Seder, my colleague Rabbi Sharon Cohen-Anisfeld writes, "The entire Seder is an invitation to taste the tears and hopes of our ancestors, to hold them close, to know that we have been here before. We have been in narrow places and we have left them behind. We have stumbled suddenly upon wide open places, possibilities opening within us, before us. Karpas is the first taste. Take your tears, take mine, take all the tears, go back as far as you can, put them in a bowl, pass them around the table, but don't let them become a bottomless well of grief. Dip, don't drown. Winter ends. Blossoms reappear. Birds return. Love rises again. So will you. So may all of us be blessed with love and warmth and good health this spring. Have a Zisen Pesach, a sweet and joyous Passover. Chag Sameach.